In the news today, as the trade war is reinvigorated and the stock market suffers with the Trump administration placing a 100% tariff on all Chinese goods that are not software materials, beef prices have reached their all-time high despite the administration's promises of lowering grocery prices. In the news today, a grand jury has indicted Letitia James, the famous prosecutor from the Trump real estate fraud cases for, well, real estate fraud. And a huge bulk of the CDC's workforce was released due to the government shutdown, but nearly half of them were brought back over the weekend. In the news today, dozens of Israeli hostages, both living and dead, were returned to the Israelis by the Palestinians, while hundreds of Hamas and Palestinian prisoners and detainees were returned to Gaza as the war comes to a close. In the news today, former Trump National Security Advisor John Bolton has been indicted over mishandling and transmitting classified documents. In the news today, in his latest meeting with President Trump, President Zelensky of Ukraine is asking for Tomahawk missiles to aid them in their efforts against the Russians, with President Trump basically washing his hands of the conflict and demanding a ceasefire. They seem to be at an impasse. In the news today, huge No Kings protests for No Kings Day 2 have broken out across the United States in protestation to the Trump administration's policies and political control, especially amid the government shutdown. ICE agents who have been dispatched to many of America's largest cities will continue to be paid despite the shutdown, DHS Secretary Kristi Noem says. And as nativist sentiment against Islam continues to rise in the Iberian Peninsula, the Parliament of Portugal has voted to ban the burqa from being worn in public spaces. News today, the Israeli-Gaza ceasefire seemed to be in jeopardy earlier this morning as Israel struck Gaza, claiming that Hamas had violated the truce as Hamas released another dead hostage. An embattled former corrupt Congressman George Santos, who was convicted and sent to prison on a charge of fraud, has had his sentence commuted by President Trump, as Trump shows clemency to a Republican. In the news today, Israeli intelligence is being consulted to aid in the theft that occurred at the Louvre earlier this weekend, where several crown jewels from the reign of Napoleon were taken. As this country continues to struggle with economic issues, including upticking inflation, President Javier Milei has strengthened his ties with the United States loaning $20 billion and perhaps investing in importing beef in order to lower the prices of all-time highs in the United States, with President Trump and President Milei remaining very close, and Trump threatening the Argentinian people that if Milei is removed from power, he will cease continual diplomatic relations. Bolivia, who has just elected a center-right president, has agreed to open diplomatic ties with the United States for the first time in 20 years. This comes as the United States continues to grow more cold towards Venezuela and Colombia due to issues with the fight against the cartel and the Maduro regime in Venezuela. And despite the ceasefire with Hamas and the end of the fighting in Gaza, the UN has said that it may still pursue sanctions against Israel. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe to the Friendly Neighborhood History Channel. And although we are a history channel, we take the news very seriously in delivering objective, non-biased information to you on a daily basis. There's always more on YouTube Shorts and TikTok.